Hello everybody, Wilder Ireland here again. Not such a nice day, but there's wildlife about. I just disturbed a few deer on my way in here. Anyway, I'm just going to try and do a video on a bit more on badgers and a little walk around the exterior of the badger set. I'm too big to fit inside, unfortunately, but so I think we'll just try that and see how we get on. So put on your wellies and your wet gear and you'll get the old field trip underway. There's a lot of crouching and what have you to get into these spots. My clothes are destroyed. I'm setting up some sort of a Patreon and you can all buy me some new gear. Jesting, of course. So let's get through here. Now, so you can see we've sort of a pocket of old woodland in amongst the fields and the scrubland, which I'm sick of telling you is great habitat and unfortunately not that common anymore because farmers cleared most of their fields, and I'm not putting it on the farmers, they were encouraged to do so. I don't mean cleared the fields, but got rid of their vegetation and the trees, etc. But you know, that was government policy, EU policy, people have to eat, etc. So we're actually at a border now, one side of this badger set. This badger set is massive, and I'd say it's an old set. I don't know how old. Some of these sets can be hundreds of years old, and the generation after generation of the same badger family or clan would use them. And also other animals can use them. Foxes, you know, they can dig their own earth or den, but sometimes they will use badger sets. Badger sets are so big they could use part of the set that the badger isn't using. Badgers will have a main set, which this is, and an outlying set, or sets usually. And they sometimes use the outlying sets if a family splits up, but more commonly for certain times of the year where they're foraging for food, there may be a better food resource further away from the main set, so they'll temporarily move in. So they do that. They're also, believe it or not, very clean animals. There's some videos I have there of badgers bringing setting bedding into the set, vegetation. And what they'll often do is there's different chambers within the set, and sometimes they'll move chamber. Now, as I said, they can sometimes leave the set completely, but they'll sometimes move from chamber to chamber, and that's all about basically reducing the parasite load burden. Like all wild animals, our dogs and cats are the same. If we didn't treat them, we'll have fleas or whatever and worms. So the fleas, etc., will live in the bedding, live in the area where they sleep. So what they'll often do is they'll remove the bedding and bring in fresh bedding, and what they also do is they'll just bring out the bedding, leave it outside the set for a few days and air it kind of, and the parasites will die, drop off, and they'll bring them back in. So they are actually clean animals, believe it or not, and they also have latrines, so they don't poop where they live or poop where they eat. They'll actually have an area, normally somewhere around the border of the set. I haven't found the one here, by the way. But usually they'll use that as a toilet. And again, it keeps things cleaner, keeps the house cleaner, if you like. So anyway, here's an entrance. Now, this is what you'd call a secondary entrance. They have numerous entrances, exits, whatever. And this is one anyway. So it's not that big. But trust me, a badger can get in and out, because I've actually had a camera before on this tree. Some of my earlier videos, I think it's in the playlist, Badger Behaviours, Various, something like that. You'll see them sticking their heads out and coming in and out of here and sniffing and pawing the camera, whatever. Anyway, that's one of those. And there's another one right beside it. Oh, is that an old one there? I'm not sure. Yeah, that might be an old one there. That's covered up. That's definitely not been used at the moment. But anyway, we have one here as well. So Now we'll make our way up to the main entrance, where I have my camera set up these days most of the time. And now this is a much bigger entrance, and this is where I have my camera. It's gone a bit quieter in recent days. They're still here, but I don't know if some of them have moved. I doubt they've moved, but they just seem a bit quieter lately. For a while there was no footage for a couple of days, and I was a little bit worried, but anyway, they're still around. But and funnily enough, they were very active. You know, people used to think that they hibernated. Now they do in colder climates for the winter. But anything you read will say that they're, you know, less active during the winter. Well, I found the reverse here. They were very active here January and February, December. Anyway, this is the big main entrance here. I don't know if you can really appreciate how big it is on camera, but it is bloody well big, to use a scientific term. There's my camera there, you see. So I get the action around here where I'm standing. My videos would give you this kind of a view here. I bet you'd love me to fall down into that now. I know my friends would. Anyway, and there's the old tree there. I've footage of the big boar, the badger boar, scratching himself against that. And there was lots of love making here in February. The playlist of that as well. I also have one of the youngsters here. He looks like a bear. He looks like he's climbing it. Now they do stand up like a bear and use trees for scratching. But he looked like he was trying to climb it. They do occasionally climb. They're not great climbers. They're good swimmers. But maybe he didn't know what he was doing himself. They really are hilarious, the younger badgers. They're just like puppies. They play chasing. They fight a lot, play fighting. So yeah. So this is the main entrance anyway. And regarding diet, badgers, for a long time, and you'll still see it, you know, in older books or older posts on the internet or whatever, websites, it was thought badgers in Ireland fed mainly on earthworms. They thought 70-80% of their diet was earthworms, because that's the case in the UK. But about 10 or 15 years ago, there was someone out of Trinity, I think her name was Grania something. Anyway, look, she got permission to dissect, do autopsies on the poor old badgers that are government culls. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole rant on that again. I have another video on that. I'll put a link to it if you think you can bear it. But anyway, so she dissected them, and she found that the diet here in Ireland was not earthworm dominated. That they eat earthworms, when it's not. There's the wind now. It's not their main diet at all. They're more kind of seasonal, specific kind of eaters. So they'll eat whatever's abundant at a certain time of year, which makes plenty of sense, I suppose. They eat a lot of leather jackets. Leather jackets are, some of you guys will know, some of you might not. Leather jackets are the larvae of the crane fly, or as we generally call them, the daddy longlegs fly. There's a few different species, but anyway. And if you ever dig a garden, you'll often find them. They're just beneath the soil, and they're just like a big maggot, really. And seemingly our Irish badgers, especially around this time of the year, around springtime, they feed a lot on them. They're just underneath the ground, so they just dig them up. Badgers are like pigs with truffles. They just snuffle around. You can see plenty of videos there. I have a video list, playlist on feeding and foraging. But yeah, they snuffle around, and of course they're fantastic diggers. But yeah, so and then at other times of the year they'll switch to moth larvae or moths, caterpillars. And they'll also eat, they're omnivores. They'll eat quite a bit of, berries and what else? Those seem to be the main diet here. So they switch from season to season. So maybe that's where an outlying set would come in again, I don't know about these guys. I've only had cameras up here since November, December. So, but and another theory that scientists came up with, and I don't know if that was investigated further, because this study was 2007 or something, but In the UK, you can have huge clans or families of badgers in a set. You know, different adults, they're young. And in parts of Europe, our badgers are like some of the European badgers diet-wise as well. But anyway, in parts of Europe, you'd only have a very small amount of badgers. Now, these are European badgers. And some parts, like I think in Norway or Sweden and Scandinavia, they behave more like North American badgers and they just live on their own. So, but one of her theories is that the reason that they... now, there's, I don't know if this is ever proven, it's just a theory. The UK badgers have such a large groups in the setts is because of the earthworm diet. It just can accommodate more badgers. They just feed mainly on earthworms, and it is strange because Ireland has a damper climate than most of the UK, and you would think if anything that the Irish badgers would be more inclined to focus on earthworms, but it's a bit like Brexit. We seem to be going the European way rather than the UK way. But yeah, so that's the story there. Now these badgers, I saw them mating there. I have a playlist on that. Just right here, actually, there was a lot of mating going on for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. In February. So I explained in the other video, I'm not going to go into it again, but the delayed implantation, though the young, if any young come of that, they probably won't be born till next year, which gets to the point of this year. I'm hoping, I've no reason to, it's just a hope, but that we might get some badger cubs here. They're normally born between January and maybe March, and they surface then, they stay underground, in the set, but they'll come up over ground maybe late April, May. So it would be great to see that, to see some cubs, and also, like with the Pine Marten, as the nights get very short, the badgers will be more inclined, like they're nocturnal, but they don't have much of a choice when the hours of nighttime are so short in the summer that they probably will come out over ground before it gets dark, and we can get colour footage rather than the night black and white footage. So fingers crossed. I mean, I've no way of knowing if there's cubs down there, but there's got to be a good chance. And I've got diverted again. Oh my God, I've a brain like it. Anyway, what I wanted to say as well when we were talking about the size of the badger families in between the UK and Ireland, and as I said, I don't know if that's actually the case, but I can tell you that in this particular set, and it's a large set, like the boundary of this, I keep finding new entrances to this set. Now, some may be the outlying set, it's a bit hard to distinguish, but anyway, there's only one family down in this set here. There's the boar and the sow, the mummy and the daddy, and there's 3 youngsters, right frisky chaps and girls, who I presume are last year's cubs, because they grow fairly quickly, like they'd be pretty much full size in under a year. But anyway, yeah, I think that's what we have here. So, but there's definitely only 5 in total. And one of the actual sow, you might notice. I mean, you'd want to be looking in detail, but she's got damage to her eye, because obviously when you've got the infrared, the night cameras on, you can see the eyes glowing, and hers is one is definitely dull. So I don't know if she's completely blind. She probably is, or else it's just damaged in some way. But it's probably, I don't know, it's probably not a huge, I mean, obviously, she'd prefer if she had both eyes, but badgers are all about smell and hearing. Their eyesight is very poor in the daylight, and it's a bit better at night time, but it's not great. But it's all about smell. You'll see them, any videos I have of them exiting the set, especially the first time out in the night time or the evening, the head is up and moving and sniff, like they sniff more than a dog. They're just sniffing the whole time. And that's just as they come out, they want to make sure it's safe. And, so they don't just bolt out. Later on then they come in the night, you'll see them playing and they come in and out of the set and they're just bolting everywhere. But when they first come out, they're very, very cautious. And as I said before, they generally they'll often socialise here a lot. The youngsters will chase each other and play fight, beat the crap out of each other really, but it's all, you know, in jest. But and there'll be a lot of grooming. The adults will groom, the youngsters will groom. They groom on their own, they groom each other, and that's all, you know, that tightens the bonds. Just as grooming does in most animals and primates and equines, whatever. But anyway, but when they head out, then they normally go out on their own. I do have footage of them foraging together, but that's a little bit unnatural because once a week I throw out peanuts, and that's why I only do it once a week. But I've lots of videos of them when I've had cameras set up elsewhere. You know, I might have been trying to get deer or whatever, and the badger will just waddle along, and they're always solo. So that's that. So, but I actually love these animals, these badgers. They're probably my favourite. And I know I'm in a bit of a minority because I notice when I put up my videos, now look, you know, it's a new site. I don't really have many subscribers, but I can see that the badger videos don't seem that popular, and stuff that I think is hilarious. And now I am easily amused, but I put it up, and, you know, some people obviously like it. Everyone has different tastes, but I think people prefer kind of, you know, the bird shots I've been doing recently in my garden, and it's only a thing I started at the feeders. You know, they're very popular, and I can see why. Those goldfinches and siskins are absolutely beautiful. But I know I absolutely adore these animals, and I think it's because there's a bit of mystery to them. You know, they're nocturnal, and there's this whole underground huge network here. You know, and what's going on down there, and since I started filming them, to see the antics, the youngsters, and they're such characters. And as I've said before, you know, and people have said that to me. I haven't come up with this, but I've had a lot of people say to me, "Oh, the only time I've seen a badger is dead on the side of the road." So, as I said, they do visit gardens, but not that much here. You know, maybe more so in the UK, but they're not nearly as habituated to humans as urban foxes. You know, and the fact that they need a sett as well means they're not always close to you know, suburban gardens. Now they are in the suburbs, you know, but they're just not, for most people, it's not that common that they see them. But yeah, and it does break my heart that you know, badger baiting goes on, and of course far more are killed through our own government, but I'll refer you to my other video. I don't want to go over all that again. So yeah, now listen, would you like to see some snuffle holes? Let's continue the tour. If I can get myself through here. When I feel my jacket catch now, I just plow on because it's ripped to bits. So we're going to look at some snuffle holes. You can only see this on a Wilder Ireland, guys. This is top-notch stuff. Anyway, you see there. So what you have, that's Mr. or Mrs. Badger, and they're having a good old snuffle there to get leather jackets or worms or whatever. There's a good few around here. This is a bit more. This is a bigger kind of attempt here. And interestingly enough, the leather jackets, they can actually be an issue to farmers. Now, I'm not trying to blow this up into a huge thing, save the badgers, they're saving the farmers. It's, you know, it's a minor thing, but they do, if there's a lot of leather jackets in an area, they'll actually, the ground will go bare. But then again, I suppose you could say, well, look, the badgers are digging it up, so I don't know. But, I don't think that's one. But, you get the idea. Here we go now. They've been busy here. So they've got that big long snout, and if they need to dig, they've got fantastic, there you go now, they've got fantastic claws. And of course people often say, oh, would a badger kill you? Or not kill you, but would a badger attack you? I have a video there somewhere where you'll just see a badger hears a sound. Now, there's a slim chance they're playing and his buddy is hiding over the wall or something. But he's feeding, he hears it, and he runs for his life. And there's another video there I put up last week with the egg, where I left an egg out there, and from the Pine Marten thing, just out of curiosity, and the egg rolled and the badger booted it down into the sett. And I left it overnight and broke it to see, and I put another egg there, and the next day he was untouched, so I'm done with that experiment. I don't want to scare the poor guys. But now I did see something, obviously if you trawl through the internet, there was something in England a few years ago where a guy was badly attacked by a badger. But what happened was this badger had been raised by humans, which is not a good idea because they lose their inhibitions. I'd love to keep badger pets, but it's not the way to go. But anyway, and the poor guy got in under a garage door to hide, and this poor gentleman, of course, went into his garage. The badger was cornered. So you had two issues there. It was a cornered badger who couldn't run away, and he was habituated to humans, so he did attack. But they're going, if you see a badger, they're going to run. If you put them in a corner, well, they've no choice, And you can see in the badger baiting videos, which I've told you before, look, don't dare look at them on it, if you're anyway sensitive. But, the dogs, now they're totally outnumbered. And the poor thing is the badgers are tough animals. So, it takes a long time for them to meet their end. But, they're not... I wonder if did badger baiters start all this thing about, a badger will fight to the death. The badger will grab you and he won't let go. I don't know. But anyway, they're peaceful animals, really. I mean, obviously they have to eat, and they don't, they mainly seem to eat small invertebrates, but they will, especially, if they have to, they will kill bigger animals, rodents or whatever. There's even been cases, I hate to say this now, don't start hating badgers, but, of killing hedgehogs. I think that's more in the UK, but I don't know. But the main diet, as I said, I've already said what the main diet is, It seems to be earthworms in the UK, and it's more varied inverts here. Seeds, not seeds, berries and that kind of thing. Bulbs, they eat bulbs, they'll dig up bulbs out of the ground here. You see we've some lovely wild, primroses. Actually, I'll go over here. For anyone who's into the botany. They're all after showing up in the last while. Now, I don't think they have tubers, but you guys would know I'm not great on botany. But they would dig up, whatever, snowdrop. They might eat those kind of bulbs, tubers. But I think the main thing they're after is leather jackets and caterpillars and that kind of stuff. Beetles, of course, anything like that. And it is amazing because they are big animals. They've formidable claws and a fine set of teeth. But they don't seem to be that interested in, hunting larger animals. Unlike, your Pine Marten. Although there's another debate about Pine Martens now that, now don't get me wrong, they will kill and they're good at it. But they're wondering, are they more omnivorous than was originally thought? Because they're classed as carnivorous, but that's just a zoological, classification. They've always been omnivorous, but people are wondering, are they more omnivorous than even carnivorous? But I don't know about that. But I know the chap I'm feeding over there, Marty. Now he's down to once a week. I fed him a lot, which I don't like doing, but I just wanted my first site was very close to the entrance. Now the entrance is not an entrance, it's a crawl in on your hands and knees job, but I had seen evidence of drinking and of course rubbish. So I just didn't want the camera there, I just didn't want to encourage him to go down there. It's not likely, anything would happen to him, but I just felt it was better. So I tried to move it in one go and he just disappeared. So I have it where I want it for now. So he's only going to get, he'll get some eggs and banana and maybe raw peanuts once a week. For months here, I didn't feed at all in the badger set. I was kind of being a bit dogmatic. And I'm not saying it's bad for people to feed them. Look, I'm not. I just felt I'd get more natural behaviours that way. And the thing is, they don't know the food is coming from you. So, but I definitely wouldn't want to get them habituated to people, where they would get to the stage where they sort of, if a guy walks through here with a gun and they're going to run out and say, how you doing, and be shot to bits. There's still people out there who will shoot anything, Like badgers wouldn't be high on the list of things to shoot. Most people will be after deer, but there's still, you know, there's still people out there who just who'll just shoot anything really. Anyway, I've gone on again. Listen, I'm going to cut off. I just wanted to say I'm going to put up another video from the bird feeder thing in my yard for those of you who like that, and I'm getting lots of goldfinches in now, and lots of fighting, because I originally had just a pair of goldfinches. Now there's a few coming, so there's lots of bickering. And the siskins, that I've had one video with them. Yesterday I saw about 3 of them, but on my camera just set up for a couple of hours because you couldn't go through footage all day. But I only got one, but I think they're hopefully going to start showing up in more numbers. And I think I'm going to correct myself. I might edit this out though. I was saying that the, Niger seed was thistle, because it's often described as thistle. It's actually from a daisy, seemingly in Africa. But back in the day, they looked like thistle, so people seem to still describe it as thistle seed. By the way, they don't like it. But I'm going to leave it up there for a while, because sometimes it takes birds a while to get accustomed to a new feed. I found that before when I switched. But I think sunflower hearts, though, for me is the way to go. Anyway, that's it. Yeah, if you're anyway interested in any of this, please subscribe and pass it on. I have another video here of me doing my parodies. I have a feeling I'm probably losing subscribers rather than gaining them, but I kind of like doing them. They amuse me, and I'm easily amused, as I said. But there is one here on the badger set with St. John O'Houlihan, Dick Dickerson and Brucey Badger. I'll put a link to it just on the off chance. But anyway, I better get on and check the old camera. So take it easy. All the best. Thanks for watching. Adios.